right, Miles, let's look at the Houston Texans. This is a team that's had one heck of an offseason. They nailed it with the head coach. They had a great draft, obviously, the first couple picks. You look at Anderson and Stroud, two franchise cornerstones for the next decade or so. Things are looking really good in Houston, but we've got some reporting out that shows that another rookie could be an absolute stud early on day one for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a huge pickup, as you said. New stud quarterback in Stroud. You're pretty much next J.J. Watt, heir apparent, and Anderson there. I think this is going to be really great moves. But they've also made another move that we're going to talk about today that could be another anchor on this team for years to come. I think it's looking like a really smart pick by them. But before we get there, Nick, I want to ask the Texans fans in the comments below. You had a lot of luck last year in the running back position, but I want to go through history of the Texans. There's been a lot of great ones. So let us know in the comments below, who is your favorite Texans running back of all time? A lot of really awesome answers here. So let us know in the comments below, who's your favorite Texans running back of all time? Make sure to stay tuned to the end of today's video. Hear a word from our partner, that is Neuro. They have a lot of great products to give you a quick and easy boost of energy. We love to take their mints or gum right before the show. Keep us sharp, keep us focused so we can give you all the Texans content that you love. So stay tuned to the end of the video, hear about Neuro and some more of their product, and you get your hands on our discount code. Get those products for a little bit cheaper. But Nick, nonetheless, let's get into it. What is the good news about the Texans?
Yeah, so the young guy we're going to talk about right now is second round pick, Juice Scruggs from Penn State. This is a guy that coming out of Penn State had a great story, right? Had a very bad car accident. I believe he broke his back in 2019, overcame that multiple year starter, started his final 26 games at Penn State, and of course, rose up the draft process with a really strong Senior Bowl performance. And of course, the Texans then traded up to pick him at towards the end of the second round. Now, at the time, it seemed like a good move, not the sexiest move in the world, but a good solid move. But based on some great reporting, this is from a Twitter thread over at Cody Johnson from the Lead. Highly recommend him. He's a really smart guy. I pulled bits and pieces from the thread because he goes into great detail, but I'm going to just go over some of the highlights here, Miles. If you want to go ahead and throw it up. Again, this is from Cody Johnson off his Twitter thread talking about Juice Scruggs and why he's going to be an awesome player for the Houston Texans. All right, talking about Scruggs here. His quick feet and explosion off the ball are what help him reach and overtake defenders, which is exactly what you need in a wide zone offense. For those who aren't familiar, right, the Houston Texans bringing in Slowik, offensive coordinator from the Kyle Shanahan San Francisco 49er tree. They run that wide zone running game offense. I'm not going to go into the details of what that is. There's a lot of great things on the internet. You can just search it. A lot of people explaining what it is, but it is a specific running style, specific running offense. All right, back to the point. Want to emphasize that by all accounts, Scruggs dominated the Shrine Bowl in a system he barely ran in college. And this is why he started flying up draft boards, especially for the wide zone teams. I didn't watch Scruggs pre-draft. I can see why gap/power teams, again, different scheme, might not have had him in high on their boards. I did like his film with the knowledge of him switching to a wide zone scheme, though, and believe he is actually a perfect scheme fit. I believe Scruggs will be the Texans' day one starter and will anchor the offensive line as a starting center for years to come. All right, Miles, what all this means is basically getting down the nitty gritty here is that Juice Scruggs is a perfect scheme fit for what Slowik and the Houston Texans offense is looking to do at the offensive line with the wide zone scheme. And why does this matter? They're looking to have a much better day one starting center 2023 than they were last year. We talked about another team making a big move to upgrade their offensive line. One of our other episodes. The Houston Texans starting center Scott Quessenberry right now. According to PFF, this is his grade for the entire 2022 season. I don't know if I've ever seen a starter this terrible. 36.6. I'm going to say that again, Miles. 36.6. I don't know how that's possible to be that bad. That is one of the lowest ranking things I've ever seen on PFF for a guy who's actually starter. Usually you only see these grades if a guy's like an eighth string corner that got thrust into action due to a bunch of injuries and just got torched. You don't see a guy who's like a multi-game starter playing a lot of football grade this poorly. Quessenberry was terrible last year. They really need to be better in 2023 at the position. They went out and got Scruggs. It looks like he's a perfect scheme fit for what they want to do. I agree with this reporting here from Johnson. I think he is going to be their day one center, partly because Quessenberry is so terrible, but also partly because Scruggs is a great fit for what they want to do on offense. I love Juice Scruggs in this Houston Texans offensive line. I also love his name too, for what it's worth. But all right, Miles, what are your thoughts on Scruggs, this Texans offensive line, just everything with this football team right now?
Yeah, Nick, with an elite level name comes elite level responsibilities, and I feel like the Texans knocked this one out of the park. You nailed it, and you can go to look at his PFF draft profile. They said it too. Scruggs is a versatile zone scheme lineman with easy areas for improvement. They say he's going to fit into that system perfectly. So I love what the Texans did. They had a plan. They've come in. They made a lot of great changes all around the ball. But they had this plan, Nick. They knew what they're going to do, and they execute, pick up the players that they need to fit this scheme. And when you start to get guys that fit your scheme that other teams might not value, you can get really, really good steals in a draft. Like a guy that probably looks like he could have been a first-round pick for you, you get him in the second round because he fits your scheme so well. And that's what I'm seeing out of this guy. A multi-year anchor starter at center is something that you would see maybe in the late first round. You think the Tyler Linderbaum out of Baltimore, in the late 20s, early, mid to late 20s, you get a really, really quality starting center for years to come. If you get that in the second round, I think the Texans have once again hit a major score here with a guy like Scruggs. And I love a player that has a chip on their shoulder, battling back from a huge accident, as you said, wants to prove everyone, hey, I'm still here. I'm still an elite level player, and I can do everything all of these other guys can. Love that. So I think this is going to be a match made in heaven for the Houston Texans, and I think that they are going to love the guy that they've got in Juice Scruggs.
Yeah, and one more thing to hit on here. One of the elements of being a center is the relationship with the quarterback. And I think the fact that you got Scruggs, I think very early on is going to take over that starting job and work with CJ Stroud. We're going to see two guys in Stroud and Scruggs kind of come up together and kind of grow and develop in their own world. Very similar, by the way. I know it's a big comparison, but to the AFC South Division rival, Peyton Manning, Jeff Saturday dynamic all those years ago. That is a real thing. Having quarterback and center work together and kind of progress through the careers at a similar cadence can be extremely valuable for that relationship, which is critical, getting that communication down. So you also have that element too, which I think will be huge for the Houston Texans. All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.